Alhamdulillah, salatu ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to another episode of the 99 Names
of Allah. I am your host, Bilal Khan, and here is Ammar
Ammar
AlShukry.
Ahlan wa sahlan. Nice to see you guys again. We are going over the name of Allah, Al-Muheet.
Al-Muheet.
Yes, Mim, Ha, Ya, Ta.
I feel like we've done this name. Let me just do a quick check.
The encompassing.
I think we've totally done this name. Al-Wadud, Al-Musawwir, Al-Bari, Al-Aziz, Al-Haq, Al-Shafi, Al-Qahir, Al-Jabbar, Al-Hafid, Al-Ghani, Al-Tayyib.
I don't expect that we have done this name because it is more along the lines of the controversial names.
I mean, the subject of controversial names did.
We started off with the strongest names. We knocked those out first. So if you're going all the way back to those.
No, this is still, there's a point where, give me a second. We've done Al-Kareem, okay? السميع الفتاح البصير الحليم الخالق الخلاق. No, I guess we have not done Al-Muheet, unless somebody's ripped some pages out of my book. That would be unfortunate. Al-Muheet with a ha.
Ha, ya, ta.
Muheet.
Mim, ha, ya, ta.
Ta.
Muheet with a heavy T. The
No,
ta.
I just put a ta.
Okay, backwards.
Yeah, so Al-Muheet with the ha.
Your ta is backwards.
Oh, yeah. No.
It's in the other direction.
You're saying that the line goes here?
Yes.
That's a ta.
Yes.
You're telling me that this is not the...
Maybe it was because it was half in English that it threw me off. That's why.
Hold on. I'm gonna save this footage, just so everybody
insert this into the
frame.
frame.
I'm gonna just insert this into the frame.
The thought being in the middle of an English word threw me off, so I thought it was backwards.
So basically, this is what I've written here, and I've written Al-Muheet. So I put a ha and ta, and then Ammar's like, no, you gotta put the line on this side. What say you?
I say that لكل جواد كبوة, that every amazing writer has a stumble.
You being the writer in this case?
I am the knight.
Anyway.
We were talking about Al-Muheet.
Yes.
Now, where does Al-Muheet appear in the Quran? Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَاللَّهُ مُحِيطٌ بِالْكَافِرِينَ.
Where is this?
Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 19.
Oh, really? In the beginning?
In the beginning. Allah says, and Allah is muhitun bil kafirin. He is encompassing the disbelievers.
What does that mean? Encompassing.
So when we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being encompassing, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above everything. And it doesn't mean, as it says here, it doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is encompassing them with regards to like physically surrounding everything to the point where his creation is inside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Because if you said that Allah surrounds everything, then it would be like the entire earth and the universe is within Allah, just like the earth is within the universe.
Yeah.
But rather it says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge encompasses everything.
Okay, so he is knowledgeable and of knowing of what the people who deny
and his
Allah
greatness and his power encompasses everything.
Okay.
So it's talking about the encompassing of Allah's power, the encompassing of Allah's knowledge.
So there is no hiding from him.
Exactly. And hence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, for example, in Surah Al-Buruj, وَاللَّهُ مِن وَرَائِهِمْ مُحِيطًا. And Allah is, he's talking about some tyrants, and then he says from behind, Allah is from behind them encompassing.
Okay.
I.e. that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power is not going to, they're not going to escape Allah's power. They're not going to escape Allah's ability over them. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything that we do, and Allah has power over everything that we do. Allah says, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Allah says there is nothing that you will except that Allah wills it, the Lord of the worlds. What does that indicate to us? That Allah's will encompasses our will.
Okay.
You may will to be 6'5", but Allah willed for you to be the height that you are. Just a little bit shorter than me.
Would the appropriate analogy be something along the lines of Allah's will is like a river, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you might want to go against that river by being a stone within it or by throwing a pebble into it or whatever. Yes, you might cause some ripples, but you won't change the direction.
You don't cause ripples.
What do you mean?
Your stone doesn't cause ripples.
At all?
No.
Okay.
because a ripple would be to have some sort of effect on Allah's plan.
Well, something along the lines of, say, somebody is genetically tied to being 5 feet tall.
How about you are on an airplane?
Yes.
And you can do whatever it is that you do in the airplane. You can get up, sit down,
Yeah.
all of that type. The airplane is taking you in a direction that you have no control over.
Gotcha. Unless you jump out.
Yeah, and you can't jump out because the stewardess and everybody will stop you from jumping out. So in any case, the point here is that Allah says, and you do not will except that Allah's will overrides your will. Otherwise, we would live forever. We would will to live forever. We would be healthy all the time. We'd never be sick. We'd never be sore. We'd never be any of these things, any discomfort,
So then any
pain.
How do you respond to the individuals like, well, then what, do I have no free will?
You have free will.
So
remember, you have a limited free will.
So why am I not judged for what I do?
Because you have a limited free will.
You're judged on the limited free will that you have.
Yes.
But
so
more so
I have the choice to say the words that I'm saying. I have the choice to do whatever it is that I do.
It's
but
not
there
in
are
your control that you're going in a particular direction of the airplane. This kind of goes into the idea of those who have taqwa, right? And defined in Ayatul Bir, where الصابرون في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس, where the fact that they were facing calamity and disaster and sickness, but that are things that they cannot control.
You don't control
they're patient
everything
and
that happens
enduring through
around
that.
you. You don't control that.
Yeah.
All you can control is how you respond to it.
How you respond, what your intentions behind it are, and that's what matters. And the thoughts that you entertain and the intentions that you have are ultimately what will determine where you're at, where you're going, and also to not be not ridiculed, not to not to fool yourself with the thought that you can get away with certain ideas.
Because a lot of times people say, well, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will for bad things to happen? Does Allah will, for example?
But good and bad is a matter of subjectiveness.
There are some things that everybody
like
just
right
looks at
now
and they
we
say is
got Mount
bad.
𝐸𝐬 erupting in Hawaii, and you have like a lot of these people being evacuated. But as we talked about,
Does Allah will for someone to murder another person? Right?
Allah opens up the opportunity.
The answer
for them
is
to do.
yes.
He willed them?
Allah wills. Yes.
Okay.
Because if you say that Allah did not will it, then that person's will overrode the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we can't say that. But we do say...
Is it more appropriate
No, hold
to
on.
say?
We say two things. We say that Allah, there's two types of Allah's will.
Okay.
There's a will that is shar'i and a will that is qadri.
Okay.
The shar'i will is the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. Does
Sure.
Allah love for murder to happen? No.
Okay.
But does Allah will for it in the sense that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
Has
gave
allowed
that
it.
power? Yes.
Okay.
Allah gave that person the power to commit that murder.
Yeah.
Allah made it that the property of a knife is that when you put a certain amount of power behind it and pressure behind it, that it will cut through human flesh.
Yeah.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills for these things to happen in the sense that He allows for them to happen, even though He does not will for them to happen in the sense that He loves them.
So the idea of qadr and will are not synonymous.
Uh,
Because the idea of will is that you are forcing it from everything on your side internally and manifesting that on the external to make it happen. However, the idea,
when two people are fighting each other,
Yeah.
they're both willing to kill the other person.
potentially, yes.
But qadar, Allah's will,
Yeah.
makes it so that this person is the one who kills and
Yeah.
this one is the one who's killed.
But that will from the side of Allah is the understanding that Allah has enabled the two of them to do it. It's not that Allah made them do it.
It's not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them do it, no.
Right. And I think this is where we need to be more clear, perhaps, in maybe will is not the right word to use. Maybe we need to use a little bit, some more words in addition to that.
I mean, we always have to use more words whenever we're translating concepts.
Yeah.
But I mean, the word will, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about His mashi'ah, وَمَا
Yeah.
تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ Allah, it's pretty synonymous. Yani, mashi'ah is basically will, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't will anything. You cannot make anything happen except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows for it to happen.
Okay.
But as far as the distinguishing factor, just so that people don't confuse what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills with what Allah loves.
Gotcha.
And so we end here with regards to al-Muheet. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم كثيرا.